7 miles south of the U.S. border, the view from the top of Colonia Fausto Gonzalez is breathtaking. But turn in the opposite direction, and it's a different picture. The stench in the air is unbearable, enough to make any human being physically sick. That's because this is the city dump, filled with tons and tons of garbage. Yet even the stench doesn't keep the basuleros, or trash pickers, away. Most of the men, women, and children, like Jose Luis, or Chato as he's called, live down below in wooden structures with no running water or electricity. They're some of Tijuana's neediest families.
We look for bags and fill them with cans, and then we wait for trucks to come and dump stuff like games and lots of things.
Chato, like many locals, makes the hike up the steep side of the landfill, scouring, sifting, and digging through the trash.
You told me that the shirt you have on you found here?
Yeah, I found it over there.
The 12-year-old knows exactly which trucks to wait for.
Those trucks? Look, those are the trucks that bring clothes, and those are the ones that bring more clothes and games and lots of stuff.
But not all the basuleros keep what they find.
The moms look for clothes here for their children, or they sell them at the second-hand store, and other people buy it and wear it.
Most basuleros also hunt for cans, aluminum, metal, plastic, or cardboard, anything worth recycling.
It's not only the cans. They bring aluminum, cable cords. That's how people make a living here, recycling.
This bag of aluminum cans is worth about 100 pesos, or $10, enough to buy rice, beans, and tortillas to feed a family of 5 for a week.
We buy these American cans separately, and they are worth
You
more.
pay more money for those?
Yeah.
Scrounging through the dump is a way of life here, a life an American teacher named David Lynch from New York couldn't believe.
Working with this level of poverty was a shock to me.
It was 1980. Lynch and the other volunteers from a nonprofit organization called Responsibility set up makeshift classrooms along the city's dump.
When I was a public school teacher, if a dog came into the building, the whole school was up in arms. And here you could have a pig walking through the middle of your imaginary classroom, and you're reading a story to the kids, and the kids are not distracted.
David remembers one young student named Felipe, a basulero from a family of 9 who stuttered when he spoke.
I think, if I remember correctly, he started elementary school when he was around 9 years of age.
Lynch founded his own chapter of Responsibility, the same nonprofit group which brought him here many years ago. Lynch packed the local children in his van and took them away from their neighborhood on field trips.
I can remember taking these kids to restaurants and asking if we can go and see the kitchen, just to give the kids an idea. Look, there's a guy who cooks, there's a guy who cleans, there's a manager, those kinds of things. We used to do that.
Soon after, the city relocated the dump from Colonia Panamericano here to Fausto Gonzalez. Many of the families followed.
I felt like my duty in life was to show these kids that there's something else in the world that you can choose to do, should you decide to do that.
But a makeshift classroom wasn't enough. Lynch raised enough money to build something the residents here never dreamed of. The Colonia's first ever kindergarten and preschool. Residents named it after him.
This is the sign.
And he set out to find a teacher who was passionate about education. What he found was a surprise from his past.
I used to stutter really bad before, but learning English helped me a lot. It gave me a lot of motivation to keep learning from David. With more education, I'm another person now. I don't work in the dump anymore.
Remember 9-year-old Felipe? Turns out he stayed in school and graduated and never forgot his roots.
It meant more to me to work with the less fortunate children than to work with those children who already have what they need. So I came back, and here I am.
Next door, Lilian Ferreo teaches 5- and 6-year-olds.
Many of them say, when I grow up, I want to work in the dump, or I want to work in the maquiladora. So I think if we get them interested in their studies at an early age, they will have a chance to go further.
Right next door to the David Lynch School sits the elementary school that's run by the city of Tijuana. Only half of the students that graduate from David Lynch will get to enroll here, and only half of those students will ever graduate from 6th grade. Because the rest will drop out and start working at the dump. So when graduation time rolls around, it's a fancy affair. 25-year-old Berenice Rodriguez spent most of her life here as a basurera until recently. She never finished high school either.
This is the bed where my kids sleep, and me and my husband sleep on the floor on a mattress.
Still, she lives in this 2-room house with no running water. But Berenice intends to break the cycle. She has high hopes for the future of her children, now enrolled in school, she says, thanks to the American teacher, David Lynch.
Now they even know what a computer is, and they are forming their own ideas to have a job with dignity, and not to keep doing what they know, working in the dump. As parents, we have hope now that maybe they won't do the same as we did.